Mother Jones has a very, very worthwhile article about what big agriculture doesn't want you to see. Now, for the second year in a row, the livestock and meat industries are backing bills in a number of different state houses that would actually criminalize undercover investigations of livestock farms. Now, we know, Lewis, that one of the most effective ways to get attention to how our food is raised is getting cameras into livestock farms and slaughterhouses. This is something that those companies very, very acutely are aware of and try to prevent.
Right.
And we've seen some movies that have gotten some footage of what goes on there. Food Inc. comes to mind, although it's really not very, there's not really that much in there. In fact, it was actually difficult to get around most of those places. Now, the Humane Society of the U.S. is one of the animal welfare groups that is most adept at doing these undercover investigations, typically with hidden cameras. And they are saying that there are at least 9 states that have these, what they're being called ag-gag bills, gag order bills on agriculture. And a lot of them are based on this model that ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, has basically put together. They've made this cookie cutter, industry-friendly legislation that can go to just about any state, make some modifications, and you can criminalize these undercover investigations. This is a disaster. Now, to people who say, well, hold on a second. If you're trespassing, if you are using a false identity, pretending to be some kind of FDA investigator to get in somewhere and then recording, that should be illegal. And it already is. You do not need this broad scope legislation to specifically criminalize undercover investigations of these facilities. We already have trespass laws. We already have penalties for impersonating a federal employee. We have all of those things. And this is so clearly something that is there because the big agriculture, big livestock companies know that what goes on there, if it were to become public, would be disastrous to their bottom line. And that's all this is. This is a protect big business proposal sponsored in part by ALEC, which we know is a group that has those big corporate interests in mind.
Right. So the influence of these companies is working. I mean, what the government should be doing is the exact opposite. What they should be doing is allowing media and anyone who wants to capture what's going on there in at certain times during the year, during the month, what have you, to be able to see what's going on here, to be able to see what's happening to the food everyone is eating.
Speaking of freedom of the press, Natan, given that we have specific legislations, specific laws, specific legislation in place, that if you do something that is specifically illegal, like trespassing or whatever, it applies no matter whether you are a member of the media or not doing an investigation. Could this be argued that this is a type of law that is specifically targeting the press and therefore would be a government restriction on freedom of the press? Why do we need specific laws specifically applying to investigations by media?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it could, but this totally reeks of guilt. The only reason why any company would push for a law like this to be passed is specifically because they don't want people to know what actually goes on.
Obviously. Why
It's
else
just totally
would you do
obvious.
it? If there was nothing to hide, you wouldn't need specific legislation criminalizing undercover documentaries of lives. I mean, how specific is this? It is absolutely, to me, an indication that there is a problem.
Oh, I'm sure the
A
conditions...
problem we know exists.
Yeah, all over the place are heinous. Just the thought of it, that the only footage we can get of where our food is coming from is obtained illegally, covertly through subterfuge. It's mind-boggling.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So we're going to keep an eye on these bills and see where they go. There's a lot of money behind them. So I would encourage individuals to contact your local representative and if your state is one of these 9, and I apologize I don't have the list in front of me, but check out the Mother Jones article and say you are against this, and the congressperson, just as well as you and their kids and your kids, everybody needs to have some level of access to where our food is coming from, and this bill is going above and beyond everything that already exists that prevents us from knowing that.
Right.